There's an immediate jump to the silver screen in The Mark of Zorro, directed by Fred Niblo and featuring Douglas Fairbanks. Now, Fairbanks broadens his appeal and range with a series of popular costume actioners and swashbucklers. He makes two Zorro films, The Mark of Zorro, 1920, and Don Q, Son of Zorro, in 1925. These nitrate-era silent films are very imaginative treatments. There's plenty of action. There's elaborate, spectacular, exotic sets. There's daring stunts. Now, Fairbanks has a delicate balance between gentility and vitality. There's transmutations of masculinity from the effeminate Spaniard dandy to the vigorous macho hero. There's a boyish sense of fantasy here, a spirit of optimism that captures the imagination of the public. And these two Zorro silent era films are tremendous, tremendous hits. All right, now, Fairbanks exploits his own natural athleticism in these movies. And he's a very, very important figure in early Hollywood because he almost single-handedly raises the level of quality in American film production. He recognizes the important contributions of technicians and craftsmen, and he hires the best people available. And all of his action films are technically and aesthetically ambitious. Fairbanks sets the standard for the action/swashbuckler movie. Now, in the 1930s, there's a series of Republic serials about Zorro. Zorro Rides Again, 1937. Zorro outwits the bad guys to secure his ancestors' property. This features John Carroll and Duncan Ronaldo. All right, then there's Zorro's Fighting Legion. This is 1939, featuring Edmund Cobb. Zorro helps the president of Mexico. Outlaws are stealing gold shipments, and Zorro saves the day. Then there's Zorro's Black Whip, 1941, in which a young girl dons the mask and cape of her murdered brother. This features Linda Sterling. Now, the Republic serials are first-rate entertainment on limited budgets. There's lots of thrills, chills, stunts, and loads of action. You will not be bored watching the Republic serials. They move at a very, very, very fast pace. Now, in 1941, there's also The Mark of Zorro, directed by Ruben Mamoulian. This is a wonderfully acted and directed romp featuring the graceful, beautiful, dashing Tyrone Power. Now, Tyrone Power was the #1 rival to Errol Flynn. Power is vaulted to fame in a series of historical romances / costume epics. Tyrone Power is excellent in this movie. He manages to be romantic, sexy, witty, agile, and carefree. Basil Rathbone is also in this film, and he's supremely evil in this movie. There's lots of swordplay, and there's an exciting duel to the death between Tyrone Power and Basil Rathbone. There's a great supporting cast featuring Linda Darnell and Gail Snodgrad. Lots of great character actors. This version of Zorro is based on the novel The Curse of Capistrano. This is a highly, highly great movie. This is a great film. I highly recommend you see The Mark of Zorro from 1941. All right, now, Zorro lies dormant for a while, but becomes a television series featuring Guy Williams, made by Disney. This is a very, very popular series. This happens between 1957 and 1961. Guy Williams is very, very good in the role of the masked Avenger and Selfless Protector. There's a lot of merchandising tied to this television series. Toys, knives, lunchboxes, models. I in fact, have my circa 1960 Zorro pocket knife with me right now. I'm holding it in my hand for inspiration. I have treasured this knife all my life. I got it when I was, I guess about 4 years old. And Yeah, it was Christmas Eve, 1964. I also got Johnny West that year, the great Marx action figure, along with the Zorro pocket knife. I still have both, and I treasure them to this very day. All right. Now, there's a film released from the television series called The Sign of Zorro, 1960, that's re-edited from the TV series and released theatrically in Spanish-speaking countries and is a big, big hit in South America and Spain. The Disney series is very, very popular in Spanish-speaking countries. It's shown all over the world, and it's still very popular to this day. All right. Now, in the 1970s, Zorro resurfaces in theatrical cinema in 1974 with a film simply called Zorro. It's directed by Duccio Tessari. This is an Italian-French co-production. It's a light-hearted romp that's highly influenced by the popular Disney television series. Alain Delon, who was a big star, international superstar in the 1960s, he's a French actor, plays the masked one. And he doesn't take the proceedings very seriously. Stanley Baker, the great British character actor, plays the villain. Now, Diego Zorro, in the plot of this movie, is the new governor who runs afoul of corrupt officials and has to don the mask in order to help the peasants. All right, now there's a really good TV movie that came out the very same year, 1974, called The Mark of Zorro. It's directed by Don McDougall. This TV movie was, of course, released theatrically all over the Spanish-speaking world. It's a very, very effective version that features Frank Langella as Zorro. Langella is very, very good in the role. He's magnetic, mysterious, charismatic, and he gives Don Diego a sense of intelligence. There's a fine supporting cast. Ricardo Montalban, Gilbert Roland, Yvonne Di Carlo, Ann Archer. This is a very, very hard movie to track down, but if you can manage to get it, take a look at it. It's a very, very good first-rate television film. All right, let's move on to Zorro, the Gay Blade. This is 1981. This is directed by Peter Medak. This is a very, very silly spoof of the Zorro legend, which features George Hamilton in a dual role as the masked crusader who is very, very macho, and his long-lost brother who is very, very gay. The gay brother dons the cape and mask, and he becomes Zorro the Gay Blade. He's a very conscious gay hero. He looks great in purple and plum leotards. This movie is a very, very silly movie. It's funny in spots, and it features a very, very good cast that is obviously having fun and a good time. Lauren Hutton, Brenda Vaccaro, and Rob Liebman. All right, now, there's a television series in the early 1990s, a cable TV series on the Family Channel called The New Zorro that's shot in Madrid. I have to admit, this series runs from 1990 to 1994. I've never seen this, so I cannot give you any testimony as to its quality. It features Duncan Reger as Zorro and Henry Darrow, best remembered for his role in High Chaparral. All right, now, in the 1990s, there's a new Zorro, Antonio Banderas. Hispanic actually is playing Zorro. This is in 1998 with The Mask of Zorro, and there's a sequel, The Legend of Zorro, in 2005. Both films feature Banderas and Catherine Zeta-Jones and are directed by Martin Campbell. Now, the first film also features Anthony Hopkins as the aging Zorro that escapes from prison after 20 years and needs help. So he picks the, causeless bandit Banderas and infuses him with a cause and makes a man out of him. There's lots of training, sword play. Banderas takes up the mantle of the freedom fighter. There's a Highlander influence in this film. Essentially it's a Hispanic Elvira Madigan. These films are very well made, but they're too campy for my taste. All right, but they're an important films because there's actually a Hispanic playing Zorro. Now, the American Western film is a celebration of Americanness, lily white Americanness, and there's little or no room for Hispanic culture other than negative stereotypes. Zorro and the Cisco Kid are the exceptions to the rule, and they provide the only Hispanic role models in the Western film genre.